Yo, what's going on guys? Arekkz here, welcome back to another Destiny 2 video. And in this video, we are turning our attention to the Striker Titan. Hopefully by now you guys have seen the video I uploaded before this one that took an in-depth look at the Gunslinger in Destiny 2 and how it kind of differs to Destiny 1. It is not the same, it's really cool now. You can get 6 shots off with the golden gun, so if you guys have not seen that, definitely check it out. I will link the video down below. However, this time, as mentioned, we're turning our attention to the Titan. So if you do enjoy that, then a like would be super appreciated. Again, drop your comments down below and let me know what you guys think of it. Also, I want to give a massive shout out to my buddy DPJ, fellow Destiny YouTuber. We played the Strike at the same time as different classes. So I was a Hunter and he was the Titan. So this is his footage. You can find a link to his channel in the description box down below. Definitely be sure to check him out because he's got lots of Destiny 2 videos coming your way as well. But let's start off with the Subclass tree. Again, this is the new layout. I'm a really big fan of this one. Of course, right bang smack in the middle is your super, and this time around it is slightly different to what you guys are used to in Destiny 1. This is of course Fist of Havoc. However, this time around you press L1 and R1 to activate it as you would any super in Destiny, but when you do that, this just supercharges your fists. From there you then have an option. You can either press R2 to go into your conventional Fist of Havoc and you can then slam from there, but what's cool is that your super is not consumed upon the first slam. See, after that, you will then have more energy left, so you can either go into subsequent slams by, spamming the R2 button. You can typically get off 3 or 4 Fist of Havocs. Alternatively, you can press R1 to go into what is effectively a supercharged shoulder charge. So you can then mix it up. You could go shoulder charge slam or slam shoulder charge. Loads of different combinations and permutations, but this just makes it a hell of a lot more useful than just like one trick pony. Like, instead of it being Fist of Panic where suddenly something goes wrong and you just jump and smash the ground, you're like, oh, my super's gone. Now you actually have a chance to elongate it. Now, of course, in the situation we were in, we didn't have a chance to test it too heavily. So it's hard to say at this stage whether kind of the initial impact is slightly weaker, given the fact that you can kind of spread it across multiple. I'd imagine it probably is, but that's something I need to do more testing on when I get more chance to play the game. But for the time being, that is how your Fist of Havoc works. Then jumping straight up the tree and going to your standard grenades. Again, you guys will be familiar with these if you have played Titan before. You have your Flashbang Grenade, so an explosive grenade that disorients the enemies. You also have your Pulse Grenade, which is the grenade that periodically damages enemies inside the explosion radius. And you also have the Lightning Grenade, which is the one that sticks to any surfaces and emits bolts of lightning. After that, then jumping to the left, speaking about the class abilities. Again, I mentioned this in the Hunter video, but if you missed that, these 2 abilities on the left, from what we've seen in the trailer and from what I've heard, they are cross subclass abilities. Basically, these are class-wide. So no matter what subclass you choose, these will still assist. That is at least my understanding. These are unique to your particular class. So a Titan ability, a Warlock ability, and a Hunter ability. The Hunter had a kind of Shade Step or a version of Shade Step, and for the Titan, you actually have a Barricade. This is sort of like what you're going to get instead of a Bubble this time around. But your top one is the Towering Barricade. So if you hold down B, then you'll put a large barrier in place. And this can be used for cover, i.e. to block incoming shots, or to seal off dangerous areas for a short period of time. So if you were by a door, you didn't want the enemies flocking through, you can drop it down and you can then block them right there. Alternatively, you have the Rally Barricade, which is, again, a small barrier. You hold down B, you drop it down. And this then allows you to peek over it whilst aiming down sights. And it also instantly reloads your equipped weapon when you take cover. So the idea is you crouch behind the barrier, you then aim down sights to shoot over the top of it, you then crouch behind again, and you can then kind of keep reloading. So it's a defensive barrier that you can actually fight from. So depending on the way you want to play this, whether you want to just sort of block off an area or hide completely, maybe if you knew like rockets were incoming and you just wanted to hide, then you could use the top one. Alternatively, if you want to actually sit there and shoot from a vantage point, then you might want to use the bottom one. Then at the top, you have your various abilities for altering the way you play. So you have Aftermath, so following a Fist of Havoc, then it disorients enemies and leaves a damage-dealing field in its wake. You also have Magnitude, where this increases the duration of Pulse Grenades, Lightning Grenades, and Aftermath. You then have Aerial Strike, where the Fist of Havoc deals more damage the longer it's in the air. And of course, you also have Shoulder Charge. So after sprinting, for a short time, you can press R1 to slam shoulder first into your target. So that does still exist in its kind of normal state. But of course, you also have a kind of Shoulder Charge version of your Fist of Havoc too. Then down at the bottom you have your typical jumps. You have increased height for upgrading your lift to travel greater heights. You can also have increased control, so that way you get better directional control while you're in the air. Or alternatively, you have catapult, which upgrades your lift to provide a strong initial burst of momentum. And then finally, in the bottom right corner, you have Frontal Assault, so a powerful melee punch that grants you increased weapon stability. You also have Reversal, so melee kills immediately trigger health regen, plus Knockout, so breaking enemy shields increases your melee range. And finally, you have Trample, where Fist of Havoc lasts longer while sprinting, and killing enemies with Fist of Havoc will also extend its duration. So you might see in some of the gameplay where you activate it and then you run for a while. If you can run, you can extend the duration. Of course, if you can then kill in the process, then it's going to help you out. So all in all, it turns a sort of one-trick pony, sort of panic super into something so much more versatile, so much more fun to mess around with, and it's also going to be pretty lethal, pretty scary if you're playing in the Crucible and you see a charged Titan running towards you. So something to think about, something to watch out for, but for the time being, that is a quick look at the abilities, or the abilities for the Striker Titan in Destiny 2. I'm going to leave you guys with a little bit more gameplay so you can see it in action without me talking over the top. But for the time being, thank you for watching. If you've missed any of the other videos, then check them out. You can find them linked down below. I'll also be working on a Warlock video to show you the new Dawnblade class, so you'll be able to check that out a little bit later on today once it's uploaded. The uploads are a little bit slower because the internet here is terrible. I'm in a hotel at the moment, so I'll be leaving tomorrow, and it means when I'm back home on the weekend, I can start diving into some more in-depth videos. But anyway, thanks for watching, take it easy, catch you next time, peace out.
And of course, the drills have armed crews.
If it's helpful, I suggest you deal with the drills when the shooting stops.
The shooting never stops.